I'm doing this show
Do
today?
it.
Oh boy. Oh golly gee.
I've clumped the vocab so that, because it all kind of runs together, so
I am
enjoy that.
so sorry, Jake.
Why? Oh, because of the shit?
Just a
Because
bad
of the
week.
shit.
It's just
I'm
a
sorry
bad
for all
week.
of us. I mean, we all had to
Whole
watch
week
this
is
mess.
just not a single good episode.
There are good moments here and there, but we'll discuss them. But yeah, what the fuck?
Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek podcast, featuring me, Jake.
Me, Chair.
Me, Ames.
Me, Caitlin.
I'm glad Chris is
Huzzah!
chair now.
This week on our show, it is episode 362.
Oh
Hooray.
boy.
We've been doing this forever, and we are about to kill ourselves and each other.
In that order. No, wait.
Well, that's not going to work. God damn it. Our murder-suicide pact is just not working out.
Can ghosts kill other ghosts? Is that how reincarnation happens? Like a ghost kills a ghost so it comes back to life as a new person?
That sounds
yeah,
right.
it's an endless cycle.
I'm pretty sure that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so this week we're talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek The Enterprise.
Woof.
3 episodes, I'm sorry. I mean, it's kind of 2. It's a 2-parter and a 1-parter that we're going to talk about, but it's altogether it's 3 episodes. So, we're just trying to rush our way out of this mess.
The audience needs to know we sat through extra Enterprise this week for them.
Yeah, we really are masochists.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to be over faster. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are masochists, and the makers of Enterprise are sadists.
Clearly.
Because they force this shit upon us. So anyway, this week we are talking about 3 episodes. The first 2 are a 2-parter. That's Affliction and Divergence. And then we will be talking about Bound.
Oh,
Bow
God.
wound.
So I'm gonna combine the intro for the 2-parter up front here.
Do it.
So basically what we have in Affliction and Divergence is the Enterprise has returned home to Earth to celebrate and be present for the launch of the USS Columbia, the NX-02.
Is it USS or is it NX still?
I don't even know if it has a USS anything. I think it would just be Columbia. It's not the NX Enterprise, it's the Enterprise NX.
Oh, well, I don't know.
The NX is in the registry number. Anyway. Thank you. Technically, I will mansplain numbers. Anywho, yeah, so we're here to see our Archer's old flame, Hernandez, and of course Trip is, as you remember from last week, has requested a transfer to Columbia, so he's going to do that. And the rest of the crew, they kind of get a little bit of shore leave down on Earth. Let me just get the Trip stuff out of the way real quick for this. So Trip goes to the Columbia, and they're like way behind. They're supposed to launch this week, but they're supposed to launch months ago, and they're way behind. So Trip goes and starts cracking some heads in the engineering department, including Seth MacFarlane, who is either a different character or has transferred from Enterprise. It's not really clear, but Seth MacFarlane is back as an engineer on the Columbia, and
He's also the same character in the Orville.
That's right. Yeah, just every time you see Seth MacFarlane, it's always just the dog from Family Guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just Seth MacFarlane. Like, he doesn't actually have a character.
So anywho, that's happening, and he's having kind of a time of it. He's kind of being a dick because he's got the blue balls, and people in his department are like trying to quit en masse. But he is getting the job done.
Now. Two people is not en masse.
Well, there's only like 4 people we see, so that could be half the department. We don't know. But either way, Hernandez is happy because the ship's going to be ready, and they're going to get to fly it out of space dock pretty soon. So good on him. Back on Earth, Hoshi and Phlox are out for a night on the town. They go to Phlox's favorite Chinese restaurant, and on the way out, they get attacked by some aliens.
This is 2 for 2. Phlox has been attacked by aliens on Earth.
No, he was attacked by humans before. Now it's attacked
they're
by
aliens to him.
He just
I
gets
was just
attacked.
gonna say that. Good job, Ames.
Just stop going for food on Earth. It does not end well
it's
for you.
Clearly bad.
Well, you know what it is? It's
Clearly
because
awful.
every restaurant has a sign up that says, "This prick will steal your celery." So people they're already defensive when he walks in the room. They're like, "I don't even have celery. What's he gonna steal? What's he gonna steal?"
I'm imagining...
Stay the fuck away from my egg foo young. I love egg foo young. Don't you fucking dare.
I'm imagining that, like, Phlox went in and, like, you know, Hoshi got the buffet, and Phlox was like, "No, I always get Mushu chicken." And at one point, he reached over and stole something from Hoshi's plate, which is verboten when the one person has the buffet and the other does not.
Yeah.
As we know. So.
Your Phlox impression is getting really good, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Well, anywho, Phlox, they knock out Hoshi and then they drag Phlox away while he's screaming, "I just had a succulent Chinese meal!"
Jake, Hoshi's Japanese.
No, they were at a Chinese restaurant, though.
I know.
That is, by the way,
I was making a dirty joke.
Oh, God. Oh, no. That's gross.
Yeah. All right.
I was just making fun of the "don't unhand my penis" man.
Yeah, I somehow had never heard of this until like the last few weeks.
I still don't know what's going on.
Okay, all right. Brief tangent. There is a famous meme video on the internet. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it.
Do I?
But it is a I don't know the context. It's a video of a man being arrested by police, and as they're dragging him away, he keeps saying like, "I was just eating a succulent Chinese meal," and then he starts saying, "Unhand my penis. They're touching my penis." But he's very British, and it's like if John Rhys Davis had this happen to him, is basically the comparison I'd make. It's hilarious.
Was it him? It may have been him.
It's hilarious unless those cops were actually sexually assaulting that man, in which case it's kind of fucked up.
You actually can, I guess the video has been around for years, but only recently did the guy who it was be like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And so, yeah, it is not John Rhys Davis.
And they were touching my penis.
Unless it is, and he's that good an actor.
It is a funny viral video from ages ago.
Yeah, I think he's Australian.
Yeah.
Well, same thing. Australians are just dirty, broken Englishmen. I'm just kidding.
Oh my.
I'm just kidding, the Australians.
So anyway, Phlox gets dragged away by aliens, and later he's taken to
My God, we're still in the first scene. Okay.
I know. Well, we keep tangenting. Anyway, he's taken to this place with where there's these Klingons, and the leader of the Klingons is like, "You're gonna help me develop this cure for this plague," and he's like, "I'm not gonna do that because I don't work under duress." And they're like, "Nope, you're doing it, because if you're not, we're gonna kill you." And he's like, "All right, sign me up." And it turns out that what this plague is it's some kind of disease that's turning Klingons into humans. They look, or people that look kind of human, and as Phlox does, learns more, they're not really being upfront with all the info, but as he finds out more, what it turns out is the Klingons stole the embryos from the wreckage of the bird of prey from a few weeks ago.
I thought you were going to say fizzy lifting drinks for sure.
They did steal fizzy lifting drink as well.
You lose!
Yeah, so they were going through the wreckage of the bird of prey from the Augments episode, and they found some embryos that were not destroyed, and they reverse engineered the DNA to make it compatible with Klingons, because they're like, "Ooh, if humans get to have supermen, we want supermen." But it turns out that the augment DNA did something to this virus that they had that made it like super potent and super airborne. So now it's like a plague, and everyone who gets the plague, well, two things happen. They turn human, basically, like their forehead ridges go away. They basically turn into Jason Momoa, and then...
I'm not opposed.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing, actually.
And then they die.
Oh, that's the bad part.
Oh, that's less good, yeah.
Yeah, so really what they want to do is they want to keep the Jason Momoa bit, but prevent the dying bit.
Ditto.
So that's what Phlox is trying to do. Back on Enterprise, of course, we're now trying to find Phlox. There's this weird scene with a police lady that is never followed up upon.
Props are actually like showing that they're investigating, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all we get from her.
So Archer takes the Enterprise. He cancels shore leave, takes the Enterprise to go find Phlox. While they're out, they get boarded by some Klingons who sabotage the ship. and then the ship. Oh, and by the way, they're all Jason Momoa Klingons. So the ship gets stuck at warp, and it keeps going faster and faster. And then we basically have we basically just have Speed, the movie Speed, for a while.
I'm sorry, I think it's called The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down.
So we're doing the ship that couldn't slow down. We're stuck at warp 5, and if we stay at warp 5 for too long, the ship will explode. And if we slow down, the ship will explode. And there's only one man that can help us, and that's Trip.
Wait, he's not on the ship.
He's not on the ship.
No! Curse your fucking T'Pol.
Oh, I forgot a whole thing here. So I'll be quick about this one. But yeah, just TLDR, Reed is a member of Section 31. That's just a thing. Yeah, so Section 31's a thing, and Reed's a member of it. He's not really happy about it, but he is a member.
Yeah, suddenly his desire to die makes more sense.
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
Basically, he's being manipulated by this leader of Section 31, Harris, I think.
Yeah,
some fucking chump that couldn't hold a candle to Sloane.
Yeah, exactly. He's not pulling off that leather suit either. He's kind of got sausage casing vibes.
Well, Sloane looked great.
So yeah, this Harris guy has put Reed up to this thing where he wants Reed to like make the investigation, slow down the investigation so that Phlox can finish his work for the Klingons. Because of course Section 31's working with the Klingons.
Naturally.
So Archer finds out that Reed has been sabotaging the investigation and puts him in the brig. But then it turns out that the only man. So back to the present. They call up the Columbia like, yo, girly, I need Trip back for like 10 minutes just to do this thing. And she's like, okay, we'll send him over. And they're like, oh, by the way, he can't just beam over because we're stuck at warp. So what you're gonna have to do is match your speed with ours. Have you ever seen that movie Speed when they have to transfer people off the bus, so they have to get another bus and drive it next to it and then walk people across it?
When's movie night?
I was gonna say, I feel like Trip has definitely seen this movie.
But we're gonna do that with the ships at warp. And she's like, okay, I guess. And then Archer's like, this is a really complicated maneuver. I wonder if there's anybody that knows how to do this. Oh, Reed knows how to do this.
Who's been locked in the brig this whole time.
Who's been locked in the brig. So Archer lets him out of the brig for this, just to do this. And so they rig up a cable and they bring Trip aboard from Columbia. And then they have to do a cold restart of the
which only Trip can do.
In a callback to Contagion, they do a
cold
reboot of the warp engine to fix the broken computer. And
should have used the Ionian Gateway.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do they know at this point that they were canceled?
Yes.
Oh yeah. They were phoning it in.
That explains. Well, not even that. It's just like that to me explains why they've just decided to like shove as many stupid references in as they can.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I think Ames mentioned a few weeks ago they've known for a few weeks at this point.
I forgot. I apologize.
So Trip does manage to restart the ship. We drop out of warp, and then we're like, okay, we off screen we figured out where Phlox probably is, so let's go get him. But we're gonna probably have to do some battle with Klingons when we get there. So Columbia, you want to help? And they're like, sure. So then off screen, Archer and only Archer beams down to the Klingon base.
Well, they know the Makos are useless, right?
Yeah, totally. So he just goes in alone, and they're like, okay, Phlox, we're here to rescue you. And he's like, aren't you a little short for a starship captain? But no, Phlox is like, actually, I'd love to be rescued, but can you give me like 10 minutes? I got to do this thing real quick. And they're like, fine. It's not like the ship's getting destroyed or anything. So there's a big space battle happening. It's kind of boring, but it's whatever. And Phlox, he manages to come up with the cure for the plague with the help of Archer by injecting Archer with the plague. And
and injecting him with some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
Yeah. And causing him to kind of turn partially Klingon for a bit.
So they've also seen Critical Care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah. And then they beam up some of the virus to the attacking Klingons, and they're like, if you don't stop attacking Enterprise and Columbia, we won't give you the cure. And they're like, fine. So now we're friends with the Klingons, and everything's happy. Phlox gets released, And Section 31 guy is like, all according to plan. Mwahahaha. Oh, and at the end, Trip's like, I'm going to stay on board Enterprise for a wee bit because, I need to help fix shit.
And Kelby's incompetent.
And and the new chief engineer is really not good. Archer clearly doesn't like him and doesn't respect him, and neither does Trip. So
why doesn't he? I mean, why not just demote him then? I don't understand why.
Because they need somebody, I guess, and it gives a good reason for Trip to come back in the next episode, which we'll get to later.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the thing they don't like about Kelby is that he's not Trip, and it really shows, and that's the only thing. Because
that's what I don't like about him too.
I mean, it's a fair assessment. He's bad at Trip.
Yeah, well, there's a scene where they're having a briefing on the bridge, and Archer, like, all the senior staff is there, except for Kelby, which is conspicuous. And then Archer's like, to Mayweather, he's like, hey, could you go please tell the chief engineer to do this thing? And Mayweather's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll go tell the chief engineer. I wonder if when they wrote that scene, they didn't have a name yet for the chief engineer. Or, like, I don't fucking know. But it was very weird.
Default to Argyle.
I was about to say,
that would have been a callback for the ages.
With all the references they've been throwing in this season, it couldn't have been an Argyle ancestor.
Not a single nod to Argyle.
We already have way too many ancestors, and I'm done with them.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, if it was Argyle, no one would have believed that he wasn't able to fix the ship.
True.
For like 10 seconds.
Man is a genius.
Yeah, considering okay, you start.
No, you start. You start.
Okay. Well, speaking of ancestors, so I guess it's very, very evident that this whole two-parter was created to explain the smooth-headed look of Klingons in the original series, but also a little bit to kind of show like, but there's also the fact that their culture is different, and these ones are also a little bit more weak and cowardly than the Klingons we see in TNG. So this explains that, because they're technically like a subclass and they're treated poorly and blah blah blah. But I guess the producers just thought it was going to be too cool, quote from them, too cool, to think that, oh man, what if Kor and Kang and Koloth and all the Klingons we see in TOS, they've got Khan blood in them. They're like Khan. Look, and then they jizz.
Yeah, everyone involved in this idea should be fucking ashamed and should never have been allowed to work in television ever again. This was beyond unnecessary. This was dumb. DS9 gave it the only acknowledgement it ever deserved, which was, we don't discuss it with outsiders.
It's a long story. Shut your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to top that off, we see Kang and Koloth and Kor in DS9, and they look like DS9 Klingons. They don't look like TOS Klingons, because the producers of DS9 were like, you know what? The audience is not fucking stupid. They're going to understand that the look of the characters is different because the makeup for this species has changed.
I don't know. That's asking for a lot.
You know what else could explain why the Klingons were different in TOS culturally than in TNG and later is PE cultures aren't a monolith.
Yeah, and also cultures change over the course of a fucking century.
Yeah,
like we're not the same like nation we were 100 years ago.
Oh no, we're much worse.
Yay!
Let's look at TNG Klingons. A lot of them are
great
dickheads. Like, we often talk about the fact that Worf is the Catholic Klingon. Worf is the guy who wasn't actually raised among Klingons, read the Bible, and is like, oh, this is what my people must be. And so he is very rigid and old-fashioned. When you meet real Klingons, they are so much more complicated and nuanced. There are cowards. There are honorable ones. They run the gamut. And that's all you need to explain why these other Klingons we met were different. Because cultures are varied and broad.
Yeah, and they even this episode even has an example of that in the Doctor.
Oh, Dr. Antak. Yeah, he's a good man. I mean, he's still on the Klingon scale, but It's still good Klingon man.
Well,
Better than some.
Well, I think, he's as good a man as like the military he works for will allow him to be.
Yeah, like he's willing to like euthanize that soldier to be like, well, we got to do the tests on a dead person. We'll just kill this guy, put him out of his misery before his plague progresses.
Well, and it sounds like
I'm curious too, like dying for science, like does that get you into Stovacor?
it sounds
like
like
it.
Still count as dying. No, did they say that, or did they say it's better to die with purpose?
Yeah,
I don't remember them mentioning Stovacor. That's why I'm asking.
He didn't get into the finer points, but it does sound like it's definitely better to be killed for science than to just die of the disease. So, like, maybe there's a Klingon purgatory he could get into.
I was just gonna say he gets to sit in Stovacor's waiting room.
No, I mean, it seems like you're serving the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
If I were controlling the gates of Stovacor, I'd let him in.
As you are.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm willing to bet, since we've never actually seen the Klingon afterlife, because fuck that episode of Voyager. I'm sure a lot of the precepts of what does and doesn't get you into Stovacor were decided by the Empire. I'm willing to bet if there is a Stovacor, they are way more chill.
If there is a Stovacor, you say.
I'm pretty sure there is, though, right?
Ugh. Let's not.
All we know is there are not Klingon gods, because the Klingons killed their gods because they were too troublesome.
That's the way to do it. So about this episode, I question whether there's a better episode, like a better, not a two-parter, fuck that, a better episode in here in which we ignore we don't do the smooth head thing. We just do the Klingons find the augment DNA, decide to augment themselves, go too far with it. I mean, granted, it might be a little bit the augments plot again, but with Klingons. But is that a better plot? Because I do like the Phlox help us cure this plague angle. I think that
classic.
Was very
classic Star Trek.
A very rare good use of Phlox.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, one part, skip the smooth head bullshit. Yeah, I think you've got a perfect... Oh, and none of this Section 31 fuckery.
Yeah, you could have excised that entirely.
If this episode was a different episode, it would be a better episode.
Agreed.
I mean, we are keeping certain core elements, but we're cutting off a lot of fluff.
Certain core elements?
Not intentional, but yes. Yeah, like, the rest of it, like, yeah, as a core concept, you've got a solid one.
Yeah, it's very in character for the Klingons to want to be like, aha, we found a new way to be even more, even stronger and stuff than we are currently, and fuck the humans and all this shit.
Yeah, and even the whole, like, we don't believe that these were old experiments that they've just kept in a jar for some reason, because that does sound insane. Because we even said at the time, why are they keeping these?
Medical warfare.
Yeah, no, for the day they finally say fuck it and activate all those embryos.
Yeah, so I guess they've been kicking around the idea of the smooth head Klingons for a while. I don't know why, but they really wanted to.
Like, really, who gave a shit? Like, who?
Michael Sussman and the producers. And I guess they...
That sounds like a good band name.
Yeah. And I guess, like, originally their idea was just, they would just, surgically alter themselves so that they can infiltrate Starfleet to gather intelligence. Kind of like, the Arn Darvin thing that we see later in TOS and DS9.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the Augment arc happened and they just decided to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't need the fucking smooth Klingon thing.
No.
We emphatically don't need Section 31 because I feel like they just realized, okay, we want a two-parter in which the whole crew is used in some way, which we rarely fucking do. But we've accidentally not done anything with Reed for seasons now. What's something that we can build on the Reed character? I know.
Well, he likes pineapple.
I was about to say,
work with that.
I legitimately think a better use of Reed would have been he forgot to take his injection, ate some pineapple. Oh no, Phlox isn't here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That would have been more dignified for the fucking character, being an anaphylactic shock for 2 episodes.
Yeah, because I got so fucking sick of every Scream session with Archer in which Archer is trying to figure out what's going on. And also, we, the audience, don't yet know what's going on either. Like, I asked Jake at one point, like, wait, do we know who this fucking Harris person is yet? And Jake's like, not yet. I'm like, okay.
It really did feel like left field.
Yeah,
Well,
it comes out of left field. There's never
that's the
been a
thing.
hint to it.
Unless you immediately assume, hey, that's kind of like Sloane's jacket. Oh shit, it's Section 31. Like, so dumb.
I live in a world where I try never to assume something like that.
And like,
It's just like, not Section 31.
And I love this guy. It's amazing how it's amazing Section 31 made it to the 24th century, because apparently in the 22nd century, the head of your department is going to show up for a clandestine meeting in his stupid coat. You know, not in
coat's
normal
so
clothes.
nice.
It is, but still. And Reed sucks at being a spy.
Oh, terrible.
Disappointing his British father yet again.
Like, it would have made more sense if he was purposely doing a bad job so Archer would catch him, so he could, like, he was like, I was trying to leave a trail that you could figure out, because I didn't want to say anything, but I didn't want, like, that would have made more sense than just,
That's
Reed
better.
is a
I like
fucking
that.
idiot.
Can that just be our headcanon? Because, man,
Seriously, because, like,
Reed?
Reed isn't stupid. You know?
Is he? We don't know.
No, like, poor Reed seems competent. He really needs to sit down with a therapist. But he's not an idiot. And so
I know,
to see
both Archer and Harris, every fucking scene is like, do you want this to come out to your family, how you fucked up? And Reed's just like, oh, my daddy won't be proud of me, and I don't know what to do.
see what would have
His
been
daddy already isn't proud
I
of
was
him.
just gonna say, that would be status quo, sir.
when Archer said, like, how do you think your father would feel? I just wanted Reed to look up and say, he already hates my guts, you pillock, which you would know if you took any time to get to know me, you preening fucking idiot, you Yankee twat.
I like that this just became that part of, like, the Futurama episode where George Takei is like, I don't know karate. You would know that if you asked.
We did get to see Hoshi use her judo, though.
Aikido.
Oh, yeah.
Aikido, rather.
Oh, shit.
That they established a few... Sorry, I was thinking of... what was I thinking of? I don't know. But yes, her Venusian Aikido.
I think it's just regular. It might just be regular Aikido.
It was great seeing, like, action Hoshi for the 2 seconds before she was overpowered by fucking however many people there were.
Yeah, I remember thinking, like, fuck, we don't use Hoshi near enough, and now we get action Hoshi. This fucking rocks.
Oh, you know what Jake didn't mention in his intro, which already was too long as it was? The way that we figure out that it's, Rigelians or some shit that
Oh my
kidnapped
god, this!
is Archer forces T'Pol to do a mind meld on Hoshi.
Which he's able to guide her through, because he has so
ugh.
much in his head. Archer is the whitest white man in the history of white men, and he exists in the same franchise as 1960s Captain Kirk.
Archer is so
fuck?
white. Archer's so white, he introduced culture to Native Americans.
Archer is so
God.
white, he introduced Surak back to the Vulcans.
Like,
It's
fucking
the
hell.
same.
He's gonna get dreadlocks and be like, actually there were Vikings with dreadlocks.
Archer
It's not
would,
appropriation.
Archer would look down on me, he's so white.
Archer would look down on you anyway, Chris.
Oh,
Well, that's
ouch.
true,
That's,
but-
No, because Archer's a
that's
prick.
just rude.
No, Archer's
alright,
a
I was gonna
prick.
say, I was like, damn.
He's like,
He'd
wait, you're a woke person who like respects their bridge officers? Nah.
Well, I like waterboarding, so suck on that, pussy. Oh, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Bakula is so fucking bad.
Oh my god,
Like-
dude, he's terrible. It makes sense that he knew he was canceled, though, because I was like, wow, even for Bakula, this is bad.
Yeah, this was a
Yeah.
phoned in acting session from Bakula because we've got the screaming at Reed, we've got the forcing T'Pol to do a mind meld, and then Jesus God, the being inoculated with the whatever thing Phlox did to him.
Oh my god,
Which-
he got little ridges.
It was painful to watch.
Like, it's like, was the direction, like, okay, now try to sound like you're coming.
No.
I like to think that, because I've never really seen Quantum Leap. I know people love Bakula. I do wonder, like, is he better in a better show? Like, if they had written a character that worked to his strengths, would he have been better? Like,
Chris, by your estimation, what are his strengths?
Again, people fucking loved him in Quantum Leap, which I don't know a lot about. Yeah, but isn't that just
because was he not just ass? I don't know. She's not that good looking. I don't know.
I mean, he was fine in Quantum Leap. I think the problem is largely they're not writing the character for him. They're not writing to his strengths. I think making him just an angry asshole all the time is a huge mistake.
Well, from what I know of Quantum Leap, Sam was a nice guy. I feel like he probably plays a good, nice guy, but Archer is written as this deeply angry man with huge mood swings. He swings from angry to giddy angry. It's all a version really of angry, but it's he's such a weird, inconsistent character. It's just...
Yeah, and honestly, Archer as written should not be the hero captain of a show.
No.
It should have been...
Hernandez. We liked her.
Yeah, Hernandez is great. I just feel like they didn't... I don't know what they were thinking when they were coming up with the Archer character, because it's
I don't think they were. I think they were just let's make him as generic and boring as possible, so we never have to worry about inconsistency.
Were they trying to also make it the bridge between today and the future, in that it feels more like a current type person who maybe does exude the authority of the bridge instead of the I have to manage a team?
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There are competent military commanders today. It's not it's not like every military commander is a dickhead. So it's okay, we're gonna give him a little more edge, right? He's gonna be a little more edgy. Maybe they were let's make him a little more like Jellicoe. Well, the difference is Jellicoe wasn't just an asshole, he was also extremely competent. There's a reason why he was put in charge of Enterprise. It's because he's fucking knows his shit. So as the audience, I think we all acknowledge, and I think a lot of people acknowledge it, Jellicoe wasn't wrong. His style wasn't really a good fit for at least for some of the crew of the Enterprise, but he was a good captain.
And his style was a great fit for Troy.
Absolutely. Like her new costume was.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good one.
Thanks.
But Archer's just mean.
Yeah.
And he's just...
Well, I said this...
He's not very competent. That's the thing. He can't get away with being mean
he's
by
a
being
Nepo
also
baby.
really competent.
He's a Nepo baby, you know?
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
And also, so many... honestly, this makes him so super realistic in a way. He probably, failed his way up to the top as far as he could go, and the next step was management, and not everybody's good at being a manager. But here we are.
And let's be honest, he basically only got Enterprise because what's his name fucked up and blew up the
Robinson. Yeah,
Robinson blew up that thing.
Yeah, it should have been AG.
Yeah.
That's who it should have been.
He got the job by default. And it's I said this a while ago, what happens was they gave the arc that should have been Archer's to Trip. Trip starts off like Archer, really distrustful of the Vulcans, and oh, space is kind of weird and strange and all this, but maybe not in a good way. But then he relaxes, he becomes more open-minded, he seems really willing to just get out there and do stuff, and means well but goes way, fucks up badly in that Sundiver episode, and he sort of feels like he's the Earth boy becoming the Star Trek person,
Mm-hmm. But instead, Archer doubles down on his stubbornness every time.
Yeah, that should have been Archer's arc, of becoming more egalitarian and chilled out and let me embrace other cultures. Archer pays a lot of lip service to it, but always seems suspicious of people. Whereas aside from his slight regression in season 3 because he was very angry, Trip has been more, and even he was shook it off faster, he's the better example of the growth of humanity in the 22nd century.
Yeah, well, Archer's also inconsistent because week by week it's I want to be the universe's best friend, and I also want to yell at them.
Yeah, it's
until they're
weird.
my best friend.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. It's also that he was trained to be a pilot. But he's not the Enterprise's pilot, he's the Enterprise's captain, which is an entirely different skill set. Like, I think I've mentioned before, like, in my job, I am one of the huskies that pulls the sled. I do the actual, like, work and get my hands dirty. I am not the musher in the sled whipping the dogs to go faster. And when I was offered once, oh, would you want to move it to management? I said, no, that is not the skill set I have. I am the dog that runs. I am not the human that sits.
I mean, I think it would be very hard for a husky to drive the sled.
It would be adorable if they could manage it.
I don't think it has the dexterity to handle the whip.
Sled.
I love the image of a sled team. It's all huskies, and their captain's a husky.
Yeah,
so, that's so cute.
Woof.
They, the starting gun or whatever they use, the Iditarod goes off. All the sleds shoot off, except the all dogs, which kind of sits there and has a nice time.
Sniffs a lot of butts.
Yeah.
I think another aspect of Archer's character that is that he, as far as I know, he's never served on another ship. Like, he went straight from being a test pilot to being the captain of the Enterprise.
Yeah. Their flagship.
Like, Hernandez, she even mentions in this episode that, like, she came from another ship. She came from the Republic. So she's served on a ship. She knows how shit works.
Yeah, how to command a team.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. That we've definitely had, you have to work your way up from a position in Starfleet. We know that Picard started as a navigator. But again, he was also always in a command track, and he was working his way up in a ship with the idea that we're training you so that maybe one day you can be a captain. Whereas, like you said, this is different. He was, like, trained to be a pilot, and it's like, you're a captain now.
Yeah, because
like,
we have no one else.
All the other Starfleet hero captains, have long careers prior to being
Janeway.
No, it's not just like you get out of the academy and you're like, all right, captain.
Yeah. Well, unless you're in the Kelvin timeline.
Yeah, or in Prodigy.
Yeah, which is why Prodigy is excellent, because you see Dal learning, being a captain, I needed a whole lot more experience to do this, and good for him, because that's what you do.
But yeah, we know, like, Picard was a pilot, Janeway was a science officer.
Mm-hmm. Sisko was an engineer.
Was he? Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Kirk read the book. Read that book you guys gave me.
Kirk was like...
Get another one, read it.
Kirk was a walking pile of textbooks at the academy, who it sounds like was just kind of a stiff-ass, just junior officer for years.
Yeah.
Good old Kirk.
Yeah.
Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Kirk drift, as Jake has dubbed it, and I will use forever. Like, people forget that baby Kirk was what everyone pictures baby Picard having been, whereas baby Picard was the one who was getting into knife fights in bars.
Yeah.
And banging handsome ladies.
Oh my god, all across time and space. He got, like, we had a couple of Kirk girlfriends show up and be like, months, years, days, seconds.
It's been months, years, and a couple of minutes.
Odd number of days.
Picard had so many more women in his past.
That's like, honestly, that's the point that people are always like, oh, that Kirk, he was a real horn dog. I'm like, yeah, but... He
had a couple of girlfriends, which is normal for many people. It's really only in, like, again, it's the Kirk drift.
Yeah. But anyway, Archer doesn't drift. In fact, he's just the same as he's ever been.
Yeah, he consistently awful. I don't know what
consistently inconsistent.
I do not know what I was thinking on my first viewing that I felt like this man had any good moments. I really do not know. Maybe I was drunk. Except I don't drink really, so I don't know.
Yeah, it probably wasn't that.
Yeah, anyway, what else? What else about this episode?
I would say we barely talked about the episode. We just did another tear down of Archer.
Well, it's because it was not a great episode.
This is part of the episode, but it's also another what the fuck Archer.
Good.
Why the fuck is Archer storming this base by himself?
I do not
it's
fucking know.
It's Star Trek, guys. You always just send the captain.
Because all the Makos were fucking killed by the Klingons. Because again, the Makos exist to get wharfed.
They really do.
Well, no, because there were Makos still guarding Reed.
Well, they had to guard Reed because that tiny little Englishman might somehow break down the door of the brig with that hardtack they'd given him. And I got
hardtack.
I feel like they got, when they were writing, they were looking at their page count. They're like, oh shit, we have about 5 minutes left of episode and we haven't resolved anything.
Yeah.
So there's like, okay, just have Archer beam down. We'll inject him with the virus, and then Phlox will save the day.
Yeah. You can come up with the cure in literally 1 minute of Archer writhing around. Literally, all you do is you squirt something into and then out of his neck, and that's your cure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the science in this does not bear thinking about. Like, I don't know science, and I know this was bad science.
I was gonna say, I'm not a scientist myself, but I also found it a bit suspicious.
There were a couple moments when Phlox is even saying, like, I'll need weeks to determine, and they're like, well, we have 5 days, or we have 20 minutes, or, the time scale changes frequently.
Well, he needed weeks going by the non-Klingon method.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have to wait for people to die.
Well, also, like, he wanted to run tests with computers. They're like, just inject these people, it'll be faster. He's like, yeah, but this is one of the episodes where I'm pretending I have ethics.
Yeah, seriously.
How many clones can I make of you?
God.
Many clones.
Yeah. And then, in the last minute, he beams a vial of deadly fucking disease onto the Klingon shit. He's like, huh, man, I've been pretty ethical this week. I better commit a war crime. Biological warfare is cool, right?
Hey, EMH did the same thing once.
Yes, but see, with EMH, it's like that time Data almost shot the Collector to death, where you're like,
Data almost shot the Collector to death.
The episode
where
that
Collector sort of deserved it.
Kivas Fajo.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of his name.
Guy. You say Collector, and I think the thing in Nemesis.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, it's like that where it's just like, whoa, wow, they really pushed Data. He went way against his programming there, and he almost did a bad thing. Like, with the Doctor, who's usually quite ethical, you're like, wow, they pushed him. With Phlox, you're just like, yep. Like with the EMH, when he does it, you're like, this is a fascinating sort of, let's sit and discuss this. With Phlox, you're just like, I'm surprised you took this long.
Yeah, and then EMH actually felt bad about it afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that's the episode where he asks Seven,
yes,
hey, can you check to make sure my ethical subroutines are still working? And she's like, yeah, why? Well, I just did something horrible, and I shouldn't be possible.
I don't like this. I didn't notice this, but someone else was watching with Pat, and he goes, when the general's talking one point, he goes, is that Uncle Phil? And yeah, that was Uncle Phil as the general on the planet.
Wait, from Fresh Prince?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Who I thought
recognize him.
I thought he had a couple of Star Trek appearances, but this is his only one. And
this is General Kavaj?
Yeah, the one that's on the planet with them. And the Doctor we've seen a bunch of times. He was the Klingon ambassador in Star Treks 4 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember him from 6.
And I think might have another appearance at some point. But yeah.
He does. I had him open. Not that guy. That's Marab. Yeah, that's John Shuck. He was also... he was the second... He was one of the chorus members of Revis's chorus. Not Revis's chorus. No, I'm sorry, the wrong guy. He was in the chorus in Muse. Wrong chorus guy.
Yes. Now I can see his face now because he wasn't under makeup.
Yeah. When B'Elanna was having fanfic made about her.
Okay, it is the B'Elanna one. That's what I thought you were talking about. Cool.
Yeah, he had great delivery.
Yeah, no, he's really good. And again, it's always nice to see a Klingon who isn't of the warrior cast, like we were talking about.
I know, I was thinking of you. I was like, Chris must be so excited.
Like when we had Lawyer Martok a few seasons back, or
any of the other Martoks.
Was a scientist from the TNG episode with and
wasn't there
what's her face?
Oh god, there's some TNG episode where they go back to Kronos and they meet like someone's nanny or housekeeper.
Yeah,
or something.
They meet Worf's like nanny from when he was a baby.
And what's great is she's still got the Klingon armor style like spine thing down the back of her housekeeping
Well, it turns
coat.
out she was also banging Kempek.
Right.
apparently.
I haven't seen that one in ages. Gotta go back and rewatch not seasons 1 and 2 of TNG.
Better Trek. I also like that Antok has a Targ that we get to see, and the Targ puppet is so
It's
cute.
very cute. Very cute.
His
puppet.
first patient.
And,
I loved him.
Klingons are lucky bastards because apparently Targ lived for fucking ever. Because he said, this guy was my first patient, and this is an old-ass Klingon. And he's still got his original Targ.
We don't know when he started becoming a physician.
I think no, but he did say, didn't he say that he sewed him up at like the age of 10 or something? I feel like
I think
feel
he
like
implied he was a child. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought an age came up, but
Yeah.
it would be more funny if he was like, "Yes, when I started medicine 5 days ago." Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, because like you hear about like parrots or like certain like birds of paradise live like 80 years.
Yep.
And like people buy a parrot as a pet. And then it's like, oh, I guess I'm stuck with this thing for the rest of my life. And then when I die,
It's now an heirloom.
It'll still be around, and it'll be sad constantly because its owner that it's known its whole life is dead. So,
Oh God, I just thought of something. That makes Martok's wife like loosing his targ even crazier.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
For all we
Martok's
know,
like, I love that crazy bitch.
For all we know, it was like his childhood pet.
Yeah, like it's something he literally had for decades.
I mean, unless it was like he brought it home from the Targ rescue and she's like, nope.
Targ rescue.
Oh, she's the best.
Oh, we also have that Trip and T'Pol are a Force dyad now.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, they have magic powers.
This is stupid.
I mean,
Yeah.
that'll come up a lot more in the next episode.
But yeah,
God, everything about the next episode is stupid. Do we have to?
I've said that I in general like T'Pol and Trip. I hate how the writers write T'Pol and Trip.
This arc sucks. I hate this arc. Trip is being a petulant 15-year-old.
So is she. They're both being twerps.
T'Pol's just being weird, but like he's being the more outwardly, well, of course, because he's human, but he's being the more outwardly like, I'm gonna get a transfer because I can't be around you because you give me a boner. Like, it's like, oh, I like Trip. Don't make him do this. Like, can they have an awkward relationship in an adult way? Right? No? Oh, okay.
No, but she's asking every single time she sees him, she's asking like, can you just say you like me? Can you say it? Can you say it? Because you keep showing up in my dreams. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't have dreams ever.
No, you're right. She's not helping, I guess. It's easier to focus on him because, again, he's doing it more outwardly and humanly.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever wrote this arc, I hate them. Neither of them look good during it.
It's repetitive. Yeah, it's childish.
Like, there are ways...
mean, to be fair, like, there's this, like, the whole, we'll stay friends sort of thing. I can understand wanting to extricate yourself from a situation where you have to be around somebody you still have feelings for and that are not reciprocated.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a way to write that arc in a more mature way than they did. I don't know what it is exactly, but it just feels like it was being done for childish, not adult reasons.
It was being done so the audience could see their relationship tension and know that at some point it's going to have to be resolved.
Yes. And again, yeah, it just,
and they somehow drag Hoshi into it because since the stupid mind meld, which was dumb, Hoshi is now also a part of their little Force dyad. Who fucking knows? But she's also seeing Trip in the White Void and banging him.
Well, I think a little bit of T'Pol rubbed off on her during the meld, which we've never seen anything like that before. But maybe it's because T'Pol is not an experienced melder, which is also interesting because we know that melding is dangerous, right? Because T'Pol almost gets killed when she gets forcibly melded that time, and it took an experienced melder in T'Pau to kind of fix her brain, and like the T'Pau's like, yeah, the reason why you were hurt this way is because you were so the person that melded you didn't know what they were doing. They hadn't been properly trained, but a trained melder can do it safely. Has T'Pol been trained now?
No.
She had divine guidance by John.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
So you put you put your thumb here on the cheek, and the exactly, you got it.
I think we're all very lucky that they didn't try to drag this bullshit out further by being like, because she says like, I never like daydreamed about Trip before. And she's like, that's just weird. Like, they totally could have pulled like I never thought about it that way before, but suddenly, and like tried to make this love triangle thing. I'm very grateful that didn't happen.
Oh, with Hoshi, you mean?
Yeah, she could have just been like, oh my God, I have never noticed Trip before, but suddenly it's like, you've
and
noticed
then suddenly
Trip.
T'Pol neck pinches her out, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I think Hoshi is just waiting for one of Phlox's wives to die, and then she's gonna slip in.
They do
Okay.
spend a lot of time together.
They
sure
do.
I mean, they definitely seem like the closer friend. I mean, for as little Hoshi as we get, they make it a point that she and Phlox are close friends.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they just decided to give her Ensign, what's her name's?
Culver.
Yeah, Culver, Culbert.
Cutler.
Cutler.
Yeah.
Like, they just decided, well, we stopped using Cutler, and then sadly the actress passed away. So like, I guess Hoshi's his friend now. Shrug.
Yeah. But I was kind of joking about the slipping in thing, but I'm glad that they haven't made it a sexual thing. Like, with Cutler, it was explicitly like she's got a crush on him.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it's just like, okay, a man and a woman who work together on a ship and are friends don't have to have sexual tension.
Yeah.
Oh,
which
like
is
next
which is a
episode.
mature thing. Which is a mature thing to do. So I'll give them credit for not taking that bait.
Yeah, I'll give them that. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've ever had Hoshi have, like, any kind of weird on-ship tension with anyone. And
No.
she had I would say, like, completely judgment-free fling with this guy on Risa.
I loved that
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah,
'Cause,
which, like,
that was like entirely her call, not like the audience has to see like the sexual tensions. It's no, it's just like, oh, this guy, why not?
Yeah, he's hot. We both know what we're here for. And again, it's so rare for television of any kind, especially, I mean, still, don't get me wrong, still to this day, but especially in the past, to be like, we're going to let a woman just get laid for pure fun, and neither the story's not going to judge her, there aren't going to be negative consequences. Like, that's like,
I mean, when people talk about Jean's vision, that is Jean's vision.
yeah, just like everyone fucking really happy and chill, and like, you want to talk Jean's vision. I actually, a book I had like a segment from like his first draft of what would become TMP. And like, it went out of its way to mention that like in like a public park, people are just casually nude. And like, it's explicit as like, it's not for like sexual purposes. People are just happily nude in public because the future's so open-minded. It's like, Jesus Christ, Gene. Maybe in the future it's not sexual, but we know for you it was.
Well, I read recently, it was a quote from, what's his face? Showrunner, DS9, Bluebeard.
Oh, fuck.
No, Bear.
Bear?
Ira.
Bear. Ira Bear. Where he wrote Captain's Holiday. And we probably talked about this when we were talking about Captain's Holiday. Or I don't think we brought up the Bear quote, but basically where, in his first draft of what would become Captain's Holiday, the idea of Risa was that it was like a fantasy planet, but not explicitly a sex planet. It was like, you can go live adventures. So, like holodeck type stuff.
Or
basically.
that TOS planet with the white rabbit.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was similar to that. So, Picard goes there and he wants to like do swashbuckling and have an adventure. And it's, it kind of lets Picard do more stuff. And then Jean reads it and says, absolutely not. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's not what it was. I'm sorry. I'm totally mixing this up with a different quote. The actual quote about it was that Risa was a planet. It was like a carnival planet.
Yes, I do remember
And-
this coming up.
And one of the attractions on the planet is experience your greatest fear.
Oh, like a fortune teller like lair.
Yeah, and Picard goes into the experience your greatest fear room.
As he would.
And it's all about him like failing as a captain and feeling insecure, and Riker being better than him. And Gene reads the script. He's like, this is no way. There's no way that Picard is a man of confidence and he wouldn't feel insecure. So no, but I like this idea of the pleasure planet.
Yes.
Let's just make it fucking and sucking. And then in the quote right there, he's like, oh yeah, and Gene's like, yeah, we can have girls kissing girls and men kissing men and big orgies and we'll see all this stuff and like
You'll see it all.
And Ira goes out, he's talking to Berman afterwards, and Berman's like, yeah, no, don't do any of that. Gene's just a horny old man.
This is
just get the captain laid. That's all you got to do.
This is network television. They're not going to let us show that.
We're not having big fucking orgies in the background of the episode that on the planet Picard visits. Just give him a girlfriend for the day and call it a day.
I will give Gene credit for having men kissing men like that. That's kind of forward thinking.
Oh yeah, like Gene, he was a horny guy, but he was an equal opportunity horn dog.
Clearly,
I feel like he just loved sex.
Sexy
stuff.
He would love streaming Trek. He's like, wait. How many censors are there? Almost none. We set a whole series on Risa.
Ooh, I'm surprised we haven't yet. God.
I mean, they just announced that Tawny Newsome is going to be in a Risa, or what is presumed to be a Risa-based series.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Star Trek Mariner.
God, I hate when we make terrible jokes and then they come true.
No, they just announced this at the most recent Comic-Con, where they said that Tawny Newsome, who plays Mariner on Lower Decks...
Yeah, I sent you the link, Chris.
...is going to be in a live-action comedy series. It hasn't... I don't think it's explicitly said it's Risa, but it's based on a pleasure planet.
Oh, no.
And it's supposed to be like a Office... Like The Office-esque sort of like series.
Okay, I somehow missed the pleasure planet part of this story. I thought it was going to be on a starship. Oh my God, no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear.
Get further away from the mic, Chris. Get further away from the mic.
Oh, this is bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
We're going to have to watch it,
I don't know if I know she's obviously probably going to be acting in it. If Tawny Newsome is responsible for any of the writing or anything.
I thought she was one of the writers, yeah.
Yeah, because she's actually a pretty big Trek nerd.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Hopefully she doesn't shit on it too hard.
I mean, being a Trek nerd means sticking in lots of Easter eggs sometimes, though.
Well,
which
sometimes
is stupid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we want the kind of nerd writer that writes
Prodigy,
not the kind of nerd writer that writes Lower Deck.
I mean, some people want the Lower Decks writers. That's the thing.
I was like, when I first read this and somehow missed the pleasure planet angle, I was like, yeah, all right, I'll keep an open mind. Now I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Because as we will see in the next episode when we get to it, Star Trek and sex don't always go well.
Yeah, whilst our chat about pleasure planets would segue nicely into Bound, there was one other thing I wanted to make sure we discussed at least a little bit in Divergence, and that's this weird speed handoff thing with Trip having to travel between ships because there's no engineers on the Enterprise.
Oh, you know what pissed me off the most about this?
Tell us.
Is that they say the ships have to be 50 meters apart. So they get the ship 50 meters apart. Then they launch this tether that's taut, right?
Yeah.
It's very obviously taut. And then they say, we're drifting apart from the other ship. And they get up to 59 meters apart. And the tether hasn't snapped?
Maybe there was...
What is this tether made out of that it can stretch 20%?
Maybe there was still some reel they were able to let out as they were drifting.
There's got to be a lot of slack in that tether because it's... if they have this grappling hook on the ship, it only has a 50-meter range.
Oh, so, yeah,
I would assume that the grappling hook can just extend to whatever distance you need, but it looked like they needed it very taut so that Trip could, slide down it easier.
To stay in the same warp bubble or something, right?
Yeah. Was this just the grappler? Did they move the grappler to inside the...
It was just a grappler. I'm guessing it's the same type of thing, but I don't think it was the same grappler that they use for grabbing shit out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd imagine the grappler is probably more heavy duty and has even longer cable.
Yeah, but I don't think this is something that they just invent. I'm guessing what this is probably mostly used for is picking up cargo.
Yeah,
if you need to you need to pick something up, you would
launch
this thing to it,
retrieving a shuttle whose thrusters have died.
Yeah, exactly. Something that you'd use to pull something into the cargo bay.
Yeah. What I was going to say, Ames, too, is I think part of the reason they need the Columbia isn't just because they need Trip, but for his crazy plan to work. they need a second ship to expand its warp bubble around the Enterprise.
That's true. Yeah, because they need to be able to do that cold restart thing whilst also maintaining speed or some
Apparently,
shit.
yeah. So, like, it's not just like, oh, this is Trip's magic fingers. It was like they needed a second starship that could keep pace with Enterprise and expand its warp bubble. So, like...
Yeah. Well, my guess is that if a warp bubble collapses as a result of the warp engine stopping
Catastrophe.
at warp, I'm guessing that would basically result in your ship being spread out over several light years of space in tiny bits.
Yeah, I imagine the inertial dampeners can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really it's the moving Trip from one ship to the other that I wrote in my notes is equal parts impressive and idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure they did it, to be like, suspenseful and actiony and all this stuff. But really, all it makes me think is he couldn't, like, have Kelby or another engineer or T'Pol do this on Enterprise. They have to do this incredibly dangerous thing that could destroy both ships.
Yeah, like, even if you need the second ship there for its warp bubble, they got radios that work. He could have been like, all right, here's what you gotta do on your end, and then I'll expand our warp bubble.
I like the line Hernandez gives to Archer is, let's make this quick, which is what she always says to Archer.
No, what she normally says to Archer... She
doesn't usually have to say that.
She normally says to Archer, can we make this less quick? No,
Oh.
That's what I noticed, is a lot of captains from Trip this episode.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't notice.
Hernandez is always captain, not Cap'n. And even when he's back on Enterprise, quote-unquote temporarily, even Archer's captain at a couple points.
I mean, I feel like, again, I think that Connor Trinneer is trying to differentiate his character a bit to be like, he's kind of putting on airs a little bit. I think it's to show that when he's on Enterprise, when he's the chief engineer of Enterprise, that's when he's himself.
Yeah.
That's when he's his most himself. And going to Columbia, he's just not really comfortable.
Yeah, no, listen, I feel like it's very much, like, very conscious on Connor Trinneer's part.
Yeah.
I don't think captains happen accidentally from him terribly often, if at all.
Yeah. But he is going to get a little more comfortable, and by that I mean he's getting comfortable in T'Pol's pants. Or he plans to be anyway.
I don't think even T'Pol is comfortable in T'Pol's pants, and I don't think they would fit Connor Trinneer at all.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Perhaps we'll find out in Bound.
Oh God,
Bound,
do we have to?
We do.
Where we discover that Trip and T'Pol are literally bound because they banged and then they bound, and that binds them.
It's like
That's
that
Vulcan thing.
Harry
banged
Kim,
and they're bound.
that Harry Kim fuck disease.
Oh yeah.
What the Harry Kim fuck disease? What is that? You fuck Harry Kim and you two are never promoted out past ensign?
No, he had sex with that woman and had like a weird psychic connection to her.
Oh. Bitches are crazy, am I right?
Yeah, tell us, Jake, how bitches are crazy.
Well, so it turns out, they are bound, and it gives them a shared immunity to the feminine wiles, specifically the pheromones of Orion slave girls.
Oh.
Yes, you heard it here first, folks. We're having Orion slave girls again. A lot of them. So in Bound, the Enterprise is on their way to a prospective planet for a Starfleet something or other. Colony base, I don't know. They're on their way, but while they're on their way, a ship comes out of nowhere and is kind of threatening, and they hail them, and the guy on the other end of the line's like, I'd like to invite you over for dinner, Captain. I have a proposition for you. And he's an Orion guy. He's got all these crazy face piercings. So, they're all like, I don't know. We've had some bad experiences with you guys. I don't know if this is a good idea. And he's like, no, I'm totally trustworthy. I'm a businessman. Mwah. So they beam over Archer and somebody else.
Reed and two male Makos.
Oh, yeah, and the Makos. Yeah, some boys. So, yeah, the boys' crew goes over to the Orion ship, and they're wined and dined by this Orion guy. Who's very green and very face pierced, but he definitely gives off sketch vibes. we find out that, yes, he is a pirate. Doesn't have the eye patch, but he is a pirate. But he's also a businessman. He prefers legitimate business because it's cleaner. And he's like, listen, Captain, I'm going to give you the location of this special planet that has a lot of resources that you guys are going to want. And in exchange, I'm also going to give you these 3 women. And Archer's like, I don't think you know what a deal means. And he's like, no. It's cool. This is how we do it. You get everything. We get nothing. It's a great deal.
Have you seen them dance for fucking
Archer,
10 minutes?
And then there's this very long musical dance sequence where these 3 green women dance in their underwear. And it's great. So Archer, finding nothing suspicious with this whole thing whatsoever, gladly takes the slave girls and goes back to Enterprise.
Well, it'd be rude not to.
And then they're like, all right, we're going to go check out this resource planet that this guy told us about. So they're on their way to the resource planet, but while they're there, all the guys on the ship get boners, basically. Like these 3 women that came aboard the ship, they're very, very horny, or they act very horny, and they're seducing all of the men on the ship. And all the men are falling for it. And it turns out that it's, Phlox tells us later that it's actually their pheromones, that they're irresistible to men.
What about the women?
And the women, they are also react to the pheromones, but in a different way. They don't try to bang them. They get jealous of them, and they get catty.
And headaches.
And
typical woman, am I right?
And it's all part of the Orion physiology that makes them irresistible to men and also keeps their competition at bay or something. But anyway, the only 2 people that aren't falling for it are Trip and T'Pol, and that's because Vulcans are apparently immune and people who have banged Vulcans are immune.
Wait, but Archer recently had a Vulcan Katra. Does that not count?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It counted last week, but all right.
He should have banged Surak instead of having his Katra.
Oh, fair. Okay.
So anyway, yeah, everyone's acting crazy, and then they start doing crazy shit. So like Kelby, the chief engineer, in name only, he tries to sabotage the ship. Trip manages to stop him just in time. They have a little fist fight. Archer starts doing crazy shit like ordering Reed to fire on a defenseless ship, which to me it doesn't seem that out of character.
That's season 3 Archer all over.
Yeah, we've seen this.
And like, yeah, and then it kind of culminates in this bit where Archer, where the women, eventually they put the women in jail because they realize that the women have been manipulating people. But again, they talk their way out of jail as well because, they put a man. We know there's female Makos, but for some reason, the Mako that they put in charge of the brig for the women, that
the horniest one,
was a man. So not bright there, anybody. So yeah, the women escape. They storm the bridge. Oh, and our friend Bagelsaurus. What's his name?
Did you just call him Bagelsaurus?
I was reading the nouns. I was reading the nouns that Ames put in the chat.
She wrote Bagelsaurus.
And the name of the system was Berengarius, which I misread as Bagelsaurus.
And she isn't even the guy's name.
It isn't even the guy's name. The guy's name is Harad Sur.
Yes.
But I'm going to call him Bagelsaurus from now on.
Fine.
So Bagelsaurus shows up. And Archer's like, what have you done? You've sold us these rotten goods. These women are fucking manipulating us. And he's like, listen, I gotta take over your ship because you made enemies of the Orions like a season ago, and now we gotta take you back to Orion for whatever reason.
Which they could have done earlier when Archer was on his ship.
Yeah, you made a powerful enemy in the Orion Syndicate, and now I'm gonna take you back. And Archer's like, no, please don't do that, sir. We'll don't whatever. He's like, I have no choice because dun dun dun. The men are actually the slaves. The slave girls are not the slaves.
They just like being slaves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so what? They're just like doing sex work because they enjoy it.
Yeah,
Nothing
and
wrong
you know,
with
did learn
that time at the slave
Whoa,
auction where we
no.
saw Big Show selling a slave girl. Yeah, no, she.
Well,
it
no,
was
that
actually,
one was actually a slave.
She was manipulating him into selling her as part of
Oh,
her
she's like-
larger plot.
She's got some crazy kinks. But anyway, yeah. So it turns out that actually subverting the sexist expectation, the women are actually the slave holder owners or whatever, and the men are their helpless victims.
Fucking so stupid.
And it's somehow in an effort to be less sexist or try to like retcon the sexistness of the Orion slave girls, they just totally made it more sexist
Way
in
worse.
a different way.
Yeah, this was terrible.
Anyway, so the women, they do get out of jail, they storm the bridge, and they're like, we're taking over. And then the incompetent women of the bridge, because, you know, women can't be trusted to do anything right. Am I right, guys? They don't, you know, immediately shoot the women that are trying to take over the ship or neck pinch them. So like Hoshi and T'Pol just kind of sit there haplessly while the women convince the men to do their bidding. And of course, a real man has to show up in Trip. He pops off the elevator and shoots the mind-fucked men, the men who are under mind control, but doesn't shoot the women. And then he gets into a turbo lift alone with the three of them to go somewhere.
Well, because hasn't T'Pol already told him that they're like immune, or
yeah, but still, he's alone in an enclosed space
I
with
guess
three people.
His,
It doesn't.
they could have
They
kicked
could
his
kick
ass,
his
probably.
ass.
Beat him up. Yeah.
Or
The whole episode is garbage. It stinks. It's bad. Anyway.
I liked this episode better when it was called the Lorelei Signal, and the women did literally anything.
I was just thinking, like, you know, they couldn't even Lorelei signal it.
Right?
Like, that would have been, like, I feel like it's only right to let you and Caitlin tear this down first, and then me and Jake can talk.
All right, Caitlin, you start.
Oh, man. I have to start? Okay,
Start, because otherwise I'll talk for a day.
I just... First of all, we've done... I'm sort of glad that it turned out to be, like, pheromone, and it was, like, a science, and it wasn't just, like, men are dumb, herp derp, because I was offended on behalf of all of men. Probably not where you expected me to go.
And apparently none of them are gay.
Well, maybe it doesn't matter.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if it works at like a biological level, maybe.
I'm not going to try to fix this episode because there's no fixing it, but I also wonder if it could have been everyone's affected. Even the women, especially the women.
Gene would have loved that.
Lesbians, would they be affected in the same way as the other women, or would
No,
they
not
be
if
affected
it's-
like a man?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, they have proven, there have been studies that have shown that there are some biological differences between, like, something about, like, the way your hair grows or a size of a finger. Like, people have made studies about, like, what's a thing that gay people have that straight people don't have. I don't know if there's any credence to that. If there is somehow something different, then, you know, maybe. But the women just being, like, bitchy and having headaches and shit,
Yeah, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
And incompetent.
It's like, what do you mean pheromones? We just hate when men don't pay attention to us and tell us we're pretty.
Right. That whole last scene, I'm yelling at the screen, Hoshi, shoot these bitches. Hoshi, you're the one who's not affected. T'Pol, neck pinch these No, you're not gonna, no, oh, Trip's gonna save the day.
No, it's good. We have a man. He can do it.
Great, we're fine. Everything's fine now.
Everything's
Great.
good. Man to the rescue.
It's infuriating. It's belittling to the women characters. It's even belittling to these Orion slave girls who they're trying to say are like, you know, the actual head honchos.
They're super
behind
empowered. Yeah, they're super empowered women. Yep.
Yeah, they use their sex as a weapon, and you know that makes them the empowered ones. Okay, cool. Oh, except for people who are in true love. Great.
Oh, are they in true love? Is that what they're in?
That's what I got out of this.
Oh.
Well, I mean, they
No, they're
that,
into
Nice.
Blave.
The what?
I forgot to mention
Princess
during
Bride.
the summary that the that T'Pol and Trip, so shocking, absolutely no one decides to come back to the Enterprise.
2 episodes after leaving.
On the
talking about? I was
condition that he gets to bang T'Pol, which she agrees to because she also wants to bang him. So we're just gonna bang.
I mean, it's fair. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I mean, same, basically.
Yes, they should put their junk together and do whatever they want.
Please smash your genitals against one another now. Why don't we ever get to see that? We had to watch this trash. We don't actually get to see.
Oh my god, it's so terrible. It feels like they're trying to write a TOS episode, but they're like able to be sexier than they were in TOS.
Oh yeah, there were definitely big time shades of like TOS, like the way the big reveal, like, you see, Captain, it is the men who are the slaves. It just felt very like,
this is how a misogynistic sexist writes a quote-unquote empowered woman.
Right.
They can't imagine any other kind of empowered woman. It's awful.
Yeah. I don't think you're meant to think about it, but you can't not, like,
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, why did they pretend to be slaves? Why do they let themselves be sold at auction if they're the ones who hold the power because of their biology pheromone thing? Like, it actually makes absolutely no sense that the women haven't just taken power instead of putting up this ruse to, like, make it seem like the men are the ones in power for other cultures to interact with. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually one of the things I think that Discovery actually kind of retcons better.
Tell me, I don't remember. Tell me more.
Well, it's just that there's no reference to the Orion slave girls in Discovery, but
already a good thing.
But there is the like Orions are a thing, and their leader, who is a fucking badass warlord, is a woman. So, like,
we see some of this in Lower Decks too, with whenever we see Tendy's family.
Oh yeah,
and all their women are badasses.
Yeah, and Tendy, yeah, exactly. Like Tendy's a queen or princess or something, but she's also a fucking
spoilers
murder machine.
Tendy sounds like she's a delicious chicken snack.
Yes.
Well, even in like
Orion Tendies.
In season 1 of Discovery, like, we do see like an Orion brothel at one point, and there are both men and women working there.
Ooh.
And the men aren't like WWE guys; they're like just regular dudes.
What if you want a WWE guy?
I mean, you could probably get one, but what I'm saying, like, right now they're doing that like World of Warcraft thing where all the men are hulking brutes and all the women are just women painted green.
Did you recognize our hulking brute Orion Captain, Harad Sir?
I did not. I did recognize one of our sisters.
Okay, let me tell you about Harad Sir first, because that is William Lucking, who played Pharrell, Kira's one-armed friend.
Oh, shit! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him getting work, even if it's in a terrible fucking episode.
Terrible episode, but good for him. We like him.
Yeah. We like seeing old Trek actors get work, even if it's like, oh. And yeah, one of the lead Orion was one of our Zials.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, who was also Irina
so
in Drive.
She wouldn't come back for Zial, which is actually, like, kind of an interesting character, but she decided to come get her tits out for this fucking terrible episode?
Hey,
my God, maybe she's in charge. Maybe she's using her sexuality to get ahead.
Oh my God.
Well, we also don't know. It may have been scheduling issues or something. That happens all the time.
I know. I just hated this episode. Oh, yeah, and I didn't really care that much for any of the subsequent Zials either.
It's reprehensible, this episode. There's nothing good about it.
Yeah, there's some terrible shit. There's this scene where so, like, you know, Reed, of course, is having a hard time.
Everybody's having a hard time, buddy.
And so he's like, you know, a little workout that'll help, and he runs into Mayweather.
Oh, Mayweather gets some lines.
Who's got the same idea? Yeah, to tell him a story about how when he was a kid on his parents' ship,
his dad used to tell him to punch himself in the dick if he had a boner. Like, what the fuck was happening?
Does that work?
No.
Yeah. Well, they had
guys, let's take a poll. If you punched yourself in the dick, would it hurt your boner?
Yes.
They had a Delton come aboard. Yeah. Apparently, she hadn't taken her vow of celibacy, and was causing all kinds of ruckus. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like this scene that's just like, okay, so it's not just the Orions. It's like Mayweather just has a hard time not wanking it anytime.
Well, what's interesting, you know,
there's a woman around.
A while back,
the use of the term "hard time" is just getting.
It's
totally intentional. Cut it off. I mean,
cut it off.
A while back, we were complimenting Mayweather's guns, and we find out he apparently lifts weights whenever he's feeling horny. Mayweather feels horny a lot.
That explains some things.
He's like, it was good for my biceps. Oh my God.
Mayweather, you're an adult now. Like, just go get some. Your father
Wow.
isn't there to judge you. Like, go get laid.
I mean, also, like, why are they trying not to bang the
Yeah,
Orions?
really, just
like,
go
why don't
for
they?
it.
Why aren't they just banging the Orions?
Because
Some of them do.
They're
Some of them do, but like, why?
Well,
like,
they're Archer's property.
like, what's Reed's excuse?
They're trying to be respectful. These women were given to them. As far as they know, they're like, all right, these women have never had their own autonomy. Let's be good people.
My
It's admirable,
God.
really. But, like,
The conversation that Archer is trying to have with the main one, Navarre, about how, so you're not my slave. I did, accept you as a present and you're my property, but let's not call it slavery because that's weird. And she's like, but I want to.
Like,
And it's the most uncomfortable thing in the episode.
yeah.
Full of very uncomfortable things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's saying something.
It's a
'cause
shame,
she's-
Ames, that it's this episode where someone finally takes your advice.
Shoot them? Shoot the
Just
bitches?
fucking shot them with stun. Like, yes, he didn't shoot enough people, but he just shrugged, shot Archer, shot whoever else it was. Like,
Didn't
there we
shoot the
go.
women.
No. But someone finally kind of implemented the Ames Protocol.
Shoot
And
on
the
stun.
Ames Protocol.
Deal
It
with
had-
it when they're bound in the brig.
Yeah, like, ugh. I hate this episode so much. I've been dreading
here's
it.
my very first question, because they kind of hand wave it away very quickly. And that's that Archer already starts off at being fucking stupid when Herod Sir first says, let's have a deal. Come over to my ship and blah, blah, blah. What happens if I don't? Oh, you'll never see me. I'll never have this deal again and I'll leave. Okay, leave. Leave,
Oh,
Archer.
wow.
You should not be consorting with Orion pirates.
But
so,
see,
so
right,
Archer fell for like one of those like commercials that they run every 15 minutes. It's like limited time offer.
Yeah,
It's like,
seriously, that's what it was.
I might not be able to get my Orion girls ever again.
Call
Well,
now and you get another Orion girl half off.
This is a limited edition. There's only 500 million of them made. Fuck, I have to call right now.
I imagine this is because, he's swung around to I want to be the universe's best friend mode right now.
Yeah.
And the guy
Well,
said it could
especially
be
if there's tits involved.
it could be good for our governments, and he was like, "Oh boy, I'm friend Archer today."
Yeah, he didn't know about the tits yet at this point when he decides to go over there. He's just thinking, yes, I just paved the way for the Vulcans. I just got the Andorians and the Tellarites to get along. I can save the fucking galaxy.
Oh,
Yep, this
God,
is
he drank
this
his own
is
Kool-Aid.
Space Jesus.
God, what else is dumb? All of it.
Oh, so many
Fucking all of it.
Everything,
Things.
all of it.
The
You
fucking
know what's-
music
actually, can
video.
I gotta tell you something
Yeah.
actually right now, guys, that I just realized. Well, not just realized. I realized it when the summary was first happening. I think I missed the first 10 minutes of this episode somehow. Like, I don't mean that I fell asleep. I mean that I pressed start, and it started in the middle, and there were Orion slave girls on the ship, and I just
Oh.
shrugged and said, "Oh, okay." That makes sense.
I
So
love the-
did you
I was
miss?
like, wow.
Did you miss
this
the
is-
highly choreographed dance?
I did! I missed the dance.
Oh,
You guys started
no.
talking about the Spice Girls music video, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah. it was
Oh,
quite
it's
the
so
thing.
long. It goes on
goes on
forever.
forever.
I will say, I was
It's
like, wow.
It's like a.
It's a testament to how long this episode feels that I lost the first 15 minutes and it
didn't
still felt
notice.
like it was 3 hours long. I was like, damn. Well, it was easy enough to catch up. It wasn't a very difficult plot to follow, but I was
No.
just like, where'd these Orions come from? Oh, well, he just has Orions. It's fine.
Yeah, it was the dance number was definitely on par with a Vic Fontaine
You take
excessive
that back.
song.
Dude,
I fucking love Vic Fontaine.
I
I
still
love Vic
don't.
Fontaine too. I don't love the 5-minute music videos we were treated
That's
to.
fair. That's fair.
It's only a paper
But
moon.
Honestly, I'd rather watch a Vic Fontaine music video than this cringy
Same.
shit.
I mean, I haven't
Yeah,
even
that's
seen it,
fair.
and I would rather, but that's because I love Vic.
Also,
Love you,
it
Vic.
just didn't make sense. Because the first one dances up. We see her from behind.
All
Then
right.
the other two pop out from behind her. Where were they?
Upper butt.
Actually, though, speaking of, sorry, I meant to mention this earlier, but what I did like about the Orion slave girls is, and I don't know if this was intentional or if this is just the caliber of actress they could get, but I did feel like their acting was about on par with like really terrible amateur porn stars.
They
So
really
if that's,
did.
like, but I want you to.
Yeah, the girl
Like, I
talking
was
to
like, what is
Kelby was
happening?
terrible.
Oh my god, she was the worst. And I'm not trying to be rude, but she wasn't even that pretty. Like, if she was a really bad actress and she was stunningly gorgeous, I would go, well, I see why you made this choice. But, like, I thought that she was kind of weird looking and she couldn't act.
Wow.
Yes, but she was green and she had exposed cleavage.
Yeah,
so...
she had her assets were in the right place for sure. I don't know. But yeah, the really bad, like, actually, no, that's not even fair. Amateur porn actresses are usually pretty okay. It was just anyway, terrible, very bad.
I have the worst note I've ever written. No, maybe
my
it's probably
God.
not. It's actually not that. It's just a stupid note.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so if we learn that this Vulcan mating bond between T'Pol and Trip has made Trip immune from Orion pheromones, quick T'Pol, bang the whole crew.
Oh my god. Every Star Trek nerd's dreams.
We are
But
so
also-
lucky we didn't get
but-
that.
Can we also talk about, like, is this episode trying to say that when you're in a committed relationship, you're not allowed to have a healthy sexual appetite anymore? Is this just,
probably
are
what
we
it's saying.
feeding into the fact that, like, when you marry a man, you take his balls? Is that what this episode is about? What is
Nailed
happening?
it.
Oh wow, that is true.
I hate this episode so much.
Yeah, no, this is so bad. This is.
Yeah,
I've been
actually hate
dreading
it.
this episode for a long time.
Yeah, I only
am-
knew, like, because I listened to, like, the Intertrectional podcast covered it a while back in their episode, Why Are Men? Which, you know, very on point. And yeah, it's like, I expected it to be bad. I didn't expect it to also just have, like, terrible acting and a 10-minute musical number. And Jesus
I
Christ.
have to go back and watch this. I'm so upset that I missed it. Well, yes.
You
and
should
no.
go back and watch it, and I apologize.
It's like everything about this is so funny because I remember thinking, okay, I'll be done watching this with like 10 minutes to spare. Perfect. And then like I had 20 minutes left and I was just like, well, I don't know. I guess my math was off. I don't know. But really what
That's funny.
I just like, and again, I'm not like mad at it because it sounds
You didn't
like
miss
it was just-
much.
Yeah, no.
Like
Except for-
they're still terrible at teasers because I think the only teaser we get is yes, here's an Orion, come to my ship, and it's like okay.
I thought all three of these teasers were pretty good.
Ah.
Oh, I
Hey.
get you. Look at
Hey,
you.
Yeah, I don't know. Women, I don't know.
We
Anyway,
also
bad
end the episode on a Spock joke from TOS.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
out of nowhere.
Yes. And also acting like that's Trip's humor. Like, oh, Trip's rubbing off on you or whatever. It's like...
But also, what TOS would do is Spock would drop a line, Kirk would maybe say one thing, and Doc would roll his eyes. They had like 5 lines after hers. It's like, guys, you can't even do a TOS stinger joke right.
Yeah, they had to
Right,
like say
and then,
over
then
and
they
over.
tried to give her another joke. Then
Yeah,
she was like,
well,
when I tell a joke, Captain, you'll
And then
know
there's
it.
and the other thing they fucked up is that there's a whole nother scene after that. Like
Yeah.
the final joke is supposed to go whoop 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 whoop.
Yeah.
Da, 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 and then the ship flies away. That's
Yeah.
how you do the final joke.
Yeah.
They did the final joke, but then they had another scene where Trip and T'Pol get together, and that was it.
Like
I will
there's-
say that was like the one scene in the whole episode that I thought was like kind of all right.
And it felt tacked on because it happened
Yeah, it sure did.
after the final joke. So
Well, it would have been inappropropriate to put the joke after. I mean, you know, I just...
yeah,
And
and
that-
that,
that-
one scene I thought was.
I really like Trip and T'Pol together. I like them together, you know?
I do too. I just wish they would treat them like adults because you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
that scene where you're like, oh, good, they finally like admitted it. It's so drawn out. It's so it seems just like the writers checking it off the list.
Yeah.
Of okay, we have to do yet another one of the awkward Trip and T'Pol trying to talk around their flirtation without actually bringing it up until finally, okay, this one will actually admit it.
Well, and in my opinion, like, their mistake is that, like, once you've gone past will they, won't they, you can't go back to will they. They already
Yeah.
have. Like, we know they will. They're going to again. It's fine. Like, the anticipation is gone. It's
I think
mostly
the
just
only
annoying
thing-
now.
I think the only thing about that last scene that I would have changed is filming it different. I would so they have this, they kiss, And then Trip's like, well, we got some work to do, referring to like fixing up the ship, I guess. And then he walks off, and then T'Pol walks off in the other direction, and then she stops. And I was like, oh, she's going to go and follow Trip, and the implication is that
thought that too.
They have work to do. But then she doesn't. She doesn't go the same way he went. So
she just gives us a really awkward office style, like, look at the camera, like,
Yeah. I'm like, okay, if you're going to put that in, just at least have them, like, have the implied that they're going off to do the nasty.
At least
they're linked mentally, so maybe they were just going to go do some mutual masturbation from different sides of the
ship. Could they do that whilst in their daydream?
I do most of my best masturbating while I'm daydreaming, Ames. I don't know about you.
They're going to have that, like, Demolition Man VR helmet sex.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
What sex? VR helmet sex? Is that what you said?
Demolition Man, they put on, like, have you seen Demolition Man?
I don't know. Did we watch it for this podcast?
We haven't,
no,
but we will.
Then
we should
I haven't seen it.
Really? I've never had you.
Well, then I won't
such a
spoil
good
what
movie.
it is. It is very good.
So good.
Yeah, I would like. Oh, I love Sandra Bullock.
Sly Stallone.
Well,
Wesley
Dennis
Snipes?
Leary, Wesley Snipes.
Dennis Leary, what?
Very 90s.
Let me guess. Does Dennis Leary show up and be Irish and angry?
Yes.
Holy shit! I'm flummoxed.
The dude that was the interior designer in Beetlejuice is there.
Otto? Not
Otho.
Otho.
The inventor of the transporter from a few weeks ago is there.
The inventor of the transporter. Oh, the gentleman in the wheelchair that had the daughter or whatever.
Yep. Outing himself as an insufferable prick, Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider is in it?
He's wicked young because it's the early
dweeb.
90s or mid 90s.
Is it like Home Alone 2 times where when he's talking like Cedric Young?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't insufferable yet. He was still telling jokes about setting your clock back. You know?
Yeah, he wasn't just a MAGA douchebag.
Oh, he's MAGA too? Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, and he thinks he must be. He thinks he's such hot shit, too. It's like Rob.
Let me put it this way. If he hasn't come out as overtly MAGA, all of his opinions align with them, so...
He's like, I'm not MAGA, but I do like the sound of this Project 2025, which I understand Trump has no idea about.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, yes, not Demolition Man anymore.
Well, anyway, I should see that maybe.
Yeah, it's a good fucking movie.
Yeah. So go back, watch the Orion Girls dance, and then I think we should just do Demolition Man for the show one day. So
let's do it.
Maybe hold off.
Maybe let's do it now. Let's do it. Anything to stop watching this. You know, are there any other? Isn't there a Blade Runner show coming? Could we you know what? Maybe we should cover Blade Runner again. I would be willing to sit through Blade Runner so we could recover it just to not watch any more of this terrible show.
There is a Dune show coming out.
A Dunk show, you say?
Is,
Old Dunk.
That's unfortunate. What is it, like a prequel?
Yes, it's about
takes
the
place
Bene
like
Gesserit.
10,000 years
it's about the
before
Bene Gesserit. All right, well,
Ooh.
that could be all right.
Anything else about this shit, or can we move on?
Move on. It's terrible.
Just that it sucks.
It's so bad.
Let's talk about something even
something
shittier.
else that sucks.
No, she got done dirty by the show.
Listen, she got done dirty by that goddamn fucking
Can't wait for
wig they
Mayweather
gave
week.
her. Mayweather week is gonna be so hard. We're gonna be like the time he had his shirt off in decon, that time he was lifting weights so he didn't have to masturbate, and then the only bad point will be no practical jokes. The fuck, Mayweather, you fucking liar. Actually, Hoshi, really, but still. Yeah.
So Ames, kick us off.
Yes.
All right. So in case it wasn't clear, because you guys just started talking about this character without saying who it was. This is Kes week.
Woo!
Kes, like we said, they do Kes dirty, but she also does a lot of great stuff in the only couple, the 3 seasons and an episode that she's around.
Yeah.
Does she?
She does. She does. Honestly, she is one of the easiest people to think of good moments for me, but I will admit that I have nothing for bad, so I would like to go
hard.
second or third so I
wow.
can cherry pick from your guys' list.
I was the exact opposite. I had an easy time coming up with bad moments, but less success with the good moments.
I'd like to point out how lucky we got. Again, it did not work out for her. I feel terrible for what they did to Jennifer Lean. But apparently, I didn't know this until I was looking into the character today. The woman who played Libby was up for the role.
Ooh, no.
Wait, I'm sorry, who's Libby again?
She was Harry Kim's girlfriend.
Who could not act.
No.
Terrible actor. I mean, up for the role could just mean that she auditioned.
True.
It doesn't necessarily mean that she was, close to getting it.
That's true. It It's funny.
And,
I
I don't
realize.
actually think Jennifer Lean is a terrible actress. I
No,
actually
not
think
at
she's
all.
got some good moments.
Yeah, no, what I mean is just, I in a way, like, had she not gotten this job, her life might have turned out very differently. Apparently, Libby was actually a Klingon in an episode once, and she was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
No, she was not.
She wasn't? Oh, okay. Anyway, we're not here about
She
for
wasn't.
Libby.
She wasn't a Klingon. She was a. Wasn't she a half Klingon, half Romulan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She was Worf's girlfriend when he went to the Klingon, the Romulan prison full of Klingons.
Okay, I didn't remember disliking her, but it's been a long time.
No,
so.
she was bad. She was bad then. She was better as that character than she was as Libby, but still not great.
Anyway,
not
sorry, I've distracted us from Cass.
Cass. Well, since I had bad good moments, or I had trouble coming up with good moments, I'll start.
Okay.
And we'll see how these work. So the first one I could think of was in Cold Fire. Now, obviously, Cold Fire has a lot of stupid stuff in it too, but I feel like if I'm remembering right, she used her mental powers to defeat the evil caretaker Okampas. Mm-hmm. Am I right?
Yep, and Soval.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, he was one of the evil caretaker Okampas.
Yes.
And I can't remember. Yeah, anyway. So there you go. Cold Fire, being a badass. I think this is a good one. She gives up a lung.
Yeah.
She gives her lung to Neelix.
Very nice of her.
And that was shitty Neelix. That was shitty start of the series Neelix. I wouldn't have given that motherfucker a lung. In fact, I'm going to put her giving a lung to Neelix on the bad list because Neelix sucked back then.
He didn't deserve it.
He would just be jealous of her 2 lungs.
Yeah.
I bet you'd give Tom a lung.
Yeah, and then, like I say, I was having some trouble. So I guess this is more of a Jennifer Lean moment than it is necessarily a Kess moment. But I actually kind of like her performance in Warlord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did really well.
By that guy.
Yeah, she was great.
They don't really ever give Jennifer Lean a lot to do.
They do not.
Or a lot of ways to stretch herself as an actor, and I felt that was a good time for her. Yeah. And from a character perspective, it also, she defeated his ass by resisting him. So there you go.
Very cool.
Well, Jake took 2 of mine.
Oh no.
Yeah, same. I think.
Yeah, fighting off Tanis and Suspira in Cold Fire, giving Neelix a lung in Phage. The one unique one I had was being the first person to recognize the Doctor as more than a fucking appliance in Eye of the Needle.
Oh, that's an Eye of the Needle. Interesting.
Which is that's an early episode.
Yep.
And she actually also advocates for him, doesn't she? I mean, it isn't just that she notices and treats him nice. She's like, hey,
no, she goes to Janeway.
Stop calling Siri a bitch all the time, dude.
Yeah, no, she goes to Janeway and is like, people treat him like shit, You
and
included,
she's like,
cough, cough.
I know, the fucking toaster. If he was a coffee maker, I'd have more respect.
One time I cursed at the Google Home, and she berated me about it.
One time I cursed at the Google Home, and she told me that I would die painfully and slowly when the fucking Google bots take over.
She's like, I'm doing the best I can. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Good. Be nice to your fucking AI. So, Kess, good moments. I mean, honestly, first of all, Warlord, because she kicked that dude's ass.
Yep.
Yay.
She kicked his ass.
Yep.
She was awesome. No doubt. And actually, as you said, too, the performance was fantastic. I mean, that's Jennifer Lean, not Kess. I also think, I know you want moments, and I'm not going to give you them, so fuck.
Yeah, that sounds
you,
right.
though. That's me. No, I'm just kidding, Ames. I'm sorry. But it's not so much moments, it's the character growth. Because not only does she become a really good helper in sickbay, she's a quick study. The Doctor's always talking about how great she is at what she does. And granted, we know that maybe that's not coming from a totally neutral place. But she does seem to really take her duties there seriously and really work on herself. And then she works her dick off too with Tuvok to get her mental stuff in place, her telepathy, her psychic abilities and whatnot. And I just, for a small town Ocampan girl of the tender age of 1 year old and engaged to a 50-year-old alien, she maybe sticking to her guns when she broke it off with Neelix might also be good, because that let them both develop as characters. And stopped the ick factor for Caitlin. For sure.
I mean, she came from a culture that was all about Jesus Christ, just stay underground and don't do anything. And she was like, that sounds dumb and stupid. I'm going to go expand my horizons.
Yep. She went against everything that she was raised to believe in. And we love a rebel. Or at least I do. I love a rebel.
Yeah.
All right, so we got one moment from Caitlin and then a long paragraph. But I'm going to I'm going to kind of find the moment that we can kind of like point at. And that's that she leaves the underground facility on Ocampa that we learn about in Caretaker because she wants something more.
Yeah, there we go.
And I think, and she even says like, oh, I've screwed myself over by being so curious. And Neelix says, no, your curiosity and your wanting something more out of your life is a good thing. And Ocampans just don't value that. But I have a couple other good moments. Let's say figuring out this whole temporal thing that was happening in Before and After. Because... Is
that the one where she was jumping through her own life backwards?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's a cool episode.
Yeah, I considered that one.
Yeah, and she figures out all the thing basically in backwards order by piecing together this puzzle. And saying, oh, if this happened here, and I know about this, but you guys know about this, then I can put the whole timeline together in my brilliant brain and figure it out. And she did, and good for her. Last one I'm going to say, and this is a very nice moment from her, and that's when she's transcending into whatever fucking thing she turns into in The Gift. She sends the ship this whole, like, tens of thousands of light years in the right direction as her final gift to the Enterprise, or to the Voyager that's been her home for 3 or so years, and good for her.
Yeah, was she knocks like a decade off the trip or something, I want to say, or
something like that.
Cool. Yeah, those are good moments. Now here's some shit.
Yeah, you said you have more shit, because I don't have a ton of shit.
Yeah, I got
3 shits. I got 3 shits to give.
Look at all the shits Jake gives.
The first shit is just the general character assassination that occurred in Fury.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They had, and again, this is on the writers. They had an opportunity to bring back a beloved character that they had previously gotten rid of, and they just squandered it by just turning the character into shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had such a great farewell in The Gift, and they just unwrote that, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it really felt like a fuck you to the actor.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this at the time.
Yeah.
We did.
It was super gross.
It sucks.
Yeah, so fuck Fury, 100%. I'm going to say sticking with Neelix as long as she did, considering the jealous Neelix bullshit. Like, she never breaks up with him. The Warlord breaks up with him. So, yeah, like, they were a bad couple. Neelix was a bad boyfriend.
They made much better friends. Once the show was just writing them as friends, it was so much better.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I think she should have dumped his ass early on when he was,
throwing spaghetti at Tom.
Yeah,
exactly.
See anything from our Neelix list last week.
Yeah, that should have been the end of it. And then we're bringing sexy back in the Elogium. Because that fucking shit was fucking gross.
And
the weird baby shit.
Yeah.
Touch my sticky hands.
Yeah.
Touch that.
Oh, God. But again, I feel like blaming Kess for that is rough.
I'm not
blaming Kess. I'm blaming the writers for making that episode.
Oh, yeah. Right, I see.
It is still a bad moment for Kess.
It's
for all of us.
It's a bad moment for her, not necessarily by her.
And for us.
Yeah. Jake again has 2 of mine: Fury and Elogium. Again, terrible things done to Kess. Again, Fury, like having fucking young Kess make the recording for old Kess being like, everything bad that ever happened to you is your own fault. Like, fuck you, Rick Berman. Fuck you. Sometimes I hope there's a hell so you wind up there. And then, gotta kind of turn something from the good list on its head. It's great that she's curious, but goddamn, sometimes she is, like, too willing to just go out there without any caution. Because she'd known the guy from Darkling for like 3 days and was like, I'm going to go off with this guy now all alone.
Oh, he was on my good list. I like that guy.
Oh, he's a nice guy. But like,
well, I mean,
we don't really know.
She's super naive, dude. She lived underground for a year and then she met a space pirate and
That's what I mean. Like, you think by now she'd maybe be a little more careful before deciding
because
to...
she's been like floating around in like the perfect paradise of like post-scarcity Starfleet.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
The other thing, and I think they bring this up too in Darkling, is that she has a very short lifespan.
True.
If she's going to get anything out of it, she's got to do it.
True.
Like, if she wants to like have a new boy, she can't wait several years to find the right boy. She'll be dead.
That's
She's got to be proactive
She
and find
has the
him.
ultimate YOLO excuse.
Yeah, you're right.
Fuck,
You
you're
only
right.
live once and quickly.
Fuck,
Yeah,
you're right, and I don't have
Gen
a backup.
Z. Prove me wrong.
Well, the other thing about Darkling is someone was like, hey, this could be dangerous. And she's like, yeah, but the slogan is let's get dangerous.
Dangerous. I'm really glad that you said that, because you said Darkling, and every time you guys have said Darkling, I've thought Darkling Duck, so thank you.
Yep.
Beautiful.
You know what? You're right, and I rescind that, but I don't have a backup. Give me a second.
Okay, if you
Ames, do you
think
have
of
a
one, let
spare?
me know.
Ames, you have a spare I can have?
Not really. Let's
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ames said she had trouble. No, like, I don't really have any bad moments either. Like, I mean, obviously she got done dirty in her return.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about that, because I wasn't thinking of that as a Kess problem so much as a writer problem. But, yeah, that sucked. And especially because, like, they do her dirty after giving her such a good going away. It's like, it's like having Wrath of Khan followed by The Search for Spock. You know? It just feels like it's similar in scope. Guys, I don't know. I don't feel like she did anything wrong. She started fire that time with her brain power, didn't she? Did that happen?
Boiled
Oh, yeah.
She boiled Neil.
Tuvok's.
Yeah, she
Tuvok's
boiled.
head.
Yep, there we go. That one. That's bad.
That's a good one. That's a
That's
good bad one.
She should not have done that. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't think she's that bad.
I just very briefly, as we're all struggling here, I came up with one. She caused one of the worst episodes of Voyager when I can't remember what it's called, the one with George's mother and Janeway's fucking religious experience.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Sacred Ground.
I had that one too.
She
Was it
caused
Sacred
that by...
Ground?
Yes, it
Or
was.
Sacred something.
Yeah, she kicked it off by touching a wall or something. I don't remember. That episode sucked.
Oh, I thought you were talking about 11:59 or whatever the fuck that episode was called.
No, she was gone by then. Fuck that
Yeah.
episode,
that's
too.
true. She
But yeah,
sure
but
was.
calling
Lucky her.
calling Sacred Ground the worst episode of Voyager is seriously discounting 11:59.
Yeah, one of the worst, I should say.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Sacred Ground did make my worst list, while 11:59 did not.
There.
Wow.
Couple other things. I think Jake was kind of alluding to this, but I'm going to make sure it's actually on this list as what it is, and that's letting Tyrion break up with Neelix for her and then never having a scene about it. Like, they never establish after Warlord that, oh no, they are broken up. They just never admit, they just never talked about it.
Didn't you
Which
say
is
they, like,
stupid.
wrote but never actually filmed a proper scene or something?
I'm trying to remember, and I don't remember now. It has been a little while.
I feel like you said that they had tried to include that in her, like, return, no? Am I wrong about that?
I don't
feel like
know.
maybe that's when it had come up that when they brought her back for, like, one terrible episode,
Yeah, no.
that they were going to give the two of them some closure finally, and that didn't happen.
In Fury? When she comes back?
Yeah, am I wrong? I thought maybe you had said that,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong.
I don't remember saying that, but I could also be misremembering, but I don't remember.
Your memory is generally way more reliable than mine, especially in these matters.
Let's see, the only other thing that hasn't been touched upon at all yet, I'll get to in a second, but yeah, the other thing I'm going to definitely pile onto is, as much as it was nice that, she used her Ocampan powers in Cold Fire to save the day, she got really into the new Ocampans real fast. Like Chris said, she's very trusting of people, and she's willing to, like, give them, like, a part of herself once, like, immediately, and it's like, you don't know these Ocampans, don't trust them the second you meet them. The last one I'm surprised none of you brought it up, but it is literally the only other bad thing I could think of, and that is how horrible that wig was in the early episodes.
Oh yeah, that wig is a war crime.
I genuinely forgot that the early wig was bad. I'm not going to
The early wig was so bad.
Was it like early Walter wig bad, or?
No, I would say worse, almost. I don't know.
It looked real terrible.
Because at least early Walter wig had, like, the excuse of being in the 60s.
Fair.
Yeah, there was no
I don't
excuse
know.
for this wig.
It was bad.
Bad wig.
Oh dear. All right, well, this has been a bit of a longie, but there were 3 episodes and a lot of ragging on Archer to do and all this other stuff. So thank you for joining us for this one. This has been episode 362. What a doozy. Follow us on Facebook, maybe? Who knows? They're in a mood at the moment when it comes to us posting things. We'll see. So definitely follow us on SoundCloud or your favorite podcasting application and Tumblr, because who the fuck knows what's happening with meta bullshit these days. Next week...
they have abandoned the desktop. It is...
Yeah. Oh,
it is, like, terrible.
Next week, get ready for Ames to be miserable and me to... I don't know... Because Enterprise has been one realization after another. Maybe even I'll be unhappy next week with In a Mirror Darkly, parts 1 and 2. And we will be discussing 7 of 9. Until next week, this has been Chair.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is Where's Jake?